Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another Modern Warfare Remastered video, and today we're going to be doing episode 4 of the gun review. Now today we're going to be going over one of the more underrated weapons, but is actually really quite usable, and it's my personal favorite weapon in the game, the G36C. The G36C was first designed by German arms producers Heckler & Koch in the early 1990s. It was put into service in 1997 by German arm producer Bundeswehr, replacing the G3. The G36C was much more efficient than the original G3 because not only could it hold the standard 30 round magazine, but it could also feed an 100 round drum magazine. Just a fun fact, in Modern Warfare 3 there were two G36Cs, one in the assault rifle category and one in the LMG category, known as the MG36, with the 100 round magazine. Now with the history of the G36C out of the way, let's get into the gun review. Now getting into it, let's take a look at the damage. The damage up close is 30 and the damage at long range is actually 20, placing it in last, tied for last, which is really quite surprising because it feels very, very powerful in your hands. I feel like one factor for that is because I'm always using stopping power, but even then, if I'm not using stopping power, it still feels very, very powerful compared to some of the other assault rifles. So personally, it was very surprising to see that it's tied for last in the category damage-wise. Alright, so getting down to magazine size, like I said in the beginning of the video, it actually has a 30 round magazine, tying it in first. Now, as with all the other assault rifles, it's always great to have ammo, and this has the advantage over the G3 and the M14, which both have the 20 round magazines. All the other assault rifles have 30, so this obviously takes advantage of that, and it's always really nice to have a lot of ammo. Then moving down to the unlock level, it is unlocked at level 37. Now, this is definitely one of the higher level weapons, and personally, as I am a huge fan of the G36C, it's pretty disappointing to see this unlocked at such a high level, because I love the weapon, and I've had to use it, or I haven't been able to unlock it with my permanent unlock token, because I've been doing the more important stuff like Bandolier and stuff like that, the Commander Deagle, and, you know, things that I'm trying to get gold so I can get Exclusion Zone camo. But I haven't had a chance to get the weapon that I really enjoy, the G36C. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be one of the higher weapons, and if you're a big fan of it, you might want to use one of your prestige tokens on it. That way, you know, you have it for most of your prestige, because it's closer to the end of it, and it's definitely a much harder one to get than, like, the M4. Now moving down to the ammunition, the starting and maximum ammunition, as always, it's tied into the magazine size. It is tied for first. Moving down to starting ammunition, it is 30 and 160, and max ammo is 30 and 180. Now, I always say definitely equip Bandolier because you're always going to want the most ammo you can get. Now, obviously, people like to equip like 3 times frag or C4 or Claymore, so if that's your ballpark, definitely go there. But if you're one for more ammo, always equip Bandolier. It feels like you're reloading a lot more with this weapon than like an M4 for some reason. I've never found why, but it just really feels like that, even though it's more powerful, it seems. So moving on to the reload time, it is actually pretty good, with the loaded being 2.1 seconds and the unloaded being 2.97 seconds, which both place in third. And that's actually really good because it's in the top tier of the, you know, the assault rifles. It's in the top 3. Obviously, it's always good to have a fast reload speed because you're going to be ready for the next gunfight. Also, if you guys didn't know, the fastest thing, if you're in a tight situation, always switch to your sidearm, because even if you have a fast reload, you always want to switch to that because it's going to be the fastest thing. You know, reloading can take some time, so, you know, it's always better just to quickly switch to your handgun. But back onto the topic, I definitely think reload time-wise, it's pretty average, and if you're looking at the gameplay, it looks pretty quick, and you can reload cancel pretty fast. The reload cancel feels definitely like on par of being one of the faster ones than like an AK or the MP44 or the M14. It definitely feels like one of the faster ones. So if you're looking for speed reload, definitely go with the G36C. Alright, moving down to the rate of fire, it is placing fourth at 759 rounds per minute. Now, that doesn't seem too fast compared to some of the other assault rifles we've, you know, went over already, such as the G3, which has 1,200 rounds per minute. But it's definitely not terrible, you know. The M4 trumps it in this situation, which makes it a little more powerful. But again, it really does feel a lot more powerful than the M4 for some reason. It always has. Ask anyone who has used the G36C and the M4. Most of them are going to say, for some reason, the G36C has always seemed a little bit more powerful than the M4. You seem to take down enemies a lot faster, so rate of fire isn't a huge factor here, in my opinion, because it's pretty close to the M4s. Now moving down to the final category, we're going to be taking a look at the recoil, which is low and placing, in my opinion, in third place. It has really low recoil, as you're seeing in the gameplay, but I feel like there's just other assault rifles that have far better recoil patterns and, you know, manageability for the recoil. But the G36C is definitely not short of, you know, being able to be controlled really well for its recoil. And then again, there are some assault rifles that have absolutely horrendous recoil, MP44. But anyway, we'll talk about that later in the series. So I definitely think the G36C is pretty manageable in its recoil, but again, it's not the absolute best. So where does the G36C place within the category? It places third. So in my opinion, this is one of the more perfect assault rifles. Just like the G3, it's not too powerful, it's not too overpowered, it's very mediocre. It's very much in the middle with the G3, which I can understand because they're family guns, but I feel like this is just the perfect example of one of the automatic assault rifles. Now, I feel like the M4, the M16, all those are a little bit overpowered. Obviously, we're going to go over the M16 and all that in the future, and we'll truly see which is the best. But I really do feel like this is a really good example of an overall balanced automatic assault rifle, and I think it's definitely one of the better choices in the category. So if you're looking for a very fun gun to use, a very interesting gun to use, definitely go for the G36C. Now for attachments, I definitely recommend either the red dot or the suppressor. The suppressor you feel really, really powerful with for some reason, but the red dot you definitely feel a little bit more accurate, and it seems to control the recoil a little bit better. And it also gets rid of those pretty bad iron sights. But that's up to you, and perks I definitely recommend stopping power. It's a great perk to use with this weapon. If you're gonna use double tap, go right ahead, it's also great, but I definitely think stopping power melts a little bit better. But yeah, that's gonna be about it for today's gun review. It's definitely getting pretty lengthy for one, about 8 minutes now. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it for today, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the G36C down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.